Alrighty then. So, UFC 323 has concluded. And I am still under the weather, unfortunately. However, alright, we gotta clock in. Corporates reached out. You know how it goes. Minimum wage workers, working class, you know how it goes. Hair's a little messed up. Just got out of the shower. Got my new lidocaine infusion done. If anyone knows what that means, a little bit of lore for the people. But after the events of UFC 323 and during the events of UFC 323, we got some major fight announcements. And I'm going to be going through all of the early predictions and the fights that got announced throughout the event. There was a bunch. God, UFC 323 was so good. Holy fuck. Anyways, so we're going to start off with a few of them here. Again, apologize for me being a little under the weather here. It happens, you know, life, it is what it is. But without further ado, let's get into one of my most, well, it's a fight I'm excited for, I guess, you know. We're going on a 6-week break. I'm going to be fiending for some fights. We got Dustin Jacoby taking on Jimmy the Brute Crute. Now, if you're a little newer and you don't know any of these two because they're not main eventers, alright, Dustin Jacoby, I think at one point in time, as far as kickboxing goes, was number 2 pound for pound for kickboxing, something like that. He was like number 2, number 3. You know, he ran into Pereira at some point, you know, it happens. And, yeah, he got smoked a few times in kickboxing, but he transitioned to MMA. Yeah, this is an MMA record, so I don't think we're going to see yeah. I'm pretty sure he's been KO'd by, Pereira before, but regardless, Dustin Jacoby, he's a pretty good kickboxer. He still is a pretty good kickboxer. And he's got decent takedown defense for a kickboxer. He's a little bit slower on the feet now, and he's a little bit more patient on the feet. He is chinny as fuck. That's one thing that sucks about Jacoby. And Jimmy the Brute Crute, he is shit. That's the nicest way I can say it. You know, don't let this 2-fight winning streak fool you, man. This guy's shit. He is, oh man, he is atrocious on the feet. He is ugly to watch on the feet. He is chinny as fuck as well. I guess maybe not chinny as fuck, but he's still kind of chinny. Almost got KO'd to Rodolfo Bellato. Not a good look. Lost to fucking Alonzo Menafield via submission. To give you an idea of chin potential, he's been KO'd by Jamal Hill. Okay. Dude, he got Dr. Stopped by Anthony Porker Smith. Dude, like, you can't make this shit up. However, he has been on a resurgence of his career. A 2-submission win streak after retirement. He did go on retirement before the Bellato fight. Came off retirement for the Bellato fight. I think because it was in Australia. And yeah, I mean, he looks slow on the feet. He does look like he hits hard. That's why I'm concerned about this fight with Dustin Jacoby. I think early prediction, I'm going to go with Dustin Jacoby. UFC 325. January 31st, eh? Holy shit. Damn. Damn, we're getting 2 numbered cards in January? That's kind of wild. Anyways. But yeah, I think early lean, I'm going to go Dustin. I think skill at some point means something, you know? I think Dustin Jacoby is going to be able to avoid the slow, easy-to-read shots of Jimmy Crute. And if Jimmy Crute thinks he can just, like, shoot a takedown, I have a feeling he could get TKO'd via, like, elbows. Well, Jacoby's, like, stuff in the takedown. But yeah, I'm going to early lean Dustin Jacoby. We move on to an absolute fucking banger. Alright. The people's main event. Junior Tafa. How the fuck this guy is still employed is a mystery to this day. Alright. Even a bigger mystery than how Henry Cejudo got gold in the Olympics for wrestling. How the fuck is this guy still around? How the... When did he get this? I don't even remember. Who the fuck is Sean Sheriff? This this was a made up fight. This is just made up. This is fake. Fake news. Fake fight. But yeah, Junior Tafa taking on Billy Elkenna. I just bit my fucking tongue. Yeah, Billy Elkenna, I've kind of doubted. He got submitted by Bogdan Guskov. I think that was his debut. Yeah, that was his debut. Had one of the least interesting fights I've ever seen against Ibo Aslan. Genuinely up there with Derek Lewis, Kimbo Slice. Like, it was shit. Or Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou is what I meant to say. Jesus Christ. Listen, guys, my brain's a little melted right now. Okay. But yeah, Ibo, Aslan, that fight was dog shit. Ibo's probably going to get cut at this point. But he just submitted a, like, 6'7" giant in Kevin Christian. Jesus Christ. And, yeah, Billy Elkenna. I think motivated Billy Elkenna is going to really make a difference here. Dude, Junior Tafa can't defend a takedown. That's what it comes down to. This guy got heel hooked by Walter Walker. You can say early stoppage, even though he verbally screamed. You know, interesting. Yeah, Marcos Rodario, yeah, TKO'd him via leg kicks because Junior Tafa doesn't know how to deal with anyone who just doesn't box. Yeah, and he's beat Parker Porter. His claim to fame right now in the UFC is Parker Porter. Think about that. Just think about that. He's 2-4 in the UFC. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I think he loses here. I think he just gets submitted. I'm just going to go with Billy Elkenna just because this guy's been doing well in the grappling. We move on. Yeah, Billy Elkenna, I don't know. I don't see it yet. But Billy Elkenna, I think, can be something. Junior Tafa, I don't think, has a single shot of being something. You know? And I think I've seen Billy Elkenna take a shot in the Bogdan Guskov fight, so I think he can still take a shot against Junior fucking Tafa. I don't really care. We move on. Oh, I forgot to click on this guy's topology. Taliesin Teixeira. I meant Sherdogs. Taking on... That is not what he looks like. I promise you that's not what he looks like. Taliesin Teixeira. Coming off the round 1 early stoppage loss from Derek Lewis, where he got dropped, stood up, and was defending shots, but the ref called it off because he wanted to. This guy's about 6'7", 6'8", Jesus Christ. And he is taking on... at UFC 325, Thai Bam Bam Shui Tuivasa, Mr. on a 5-fight loss streak, and they're still keeping this guy around, yet we cut Jairzinho Rozenstruik for losing 1 fight. Yeah. Interesting. Yet this guy has lost 5 in a row. Yeah. Get him out. Anyways. I'm actually going to go with Taliesin Teixeira. How is this guy only 32? People forget, man. Tai Tuivasa was in a #1 contender fight with Cyril Gane to fight for the belt. But he is shit. I think we all realize now that he kind of just looks for that one big punch, and he's a fat dude who can take a shot. That's about it. Taliesin Teixeira, he's a big dude who might not be able to take a shot, but if he's smart, he just needs to kick, move, and I know this is like me hoping he's got a game plan, and this is heavyweight, so I'm expecting a little bit too much here. I just think, can we just get Tai Tuivasa out? How the fuck is this guy still around? I'm going to really lean Taliesin Teixeira. I might change, depending, you know. Tai Tuivasa might break the scale. So he might be getting in there an extra 200 pounds overweight, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, moving on, we have MMA Guru's boyfriend, Oban Elliott, taking on Jonathan Mikhalif. This is an interesting one. And if you're new and you don't know who Jonathan Mikhalif is, I don't blame you. Dude, this guy is fucking... This guy's kind of sick on the feet. His leg kicks are devastating. He's got some nasty fucking kicks. In this Kevin Jusei, I think this was his debut. Kevin Jusei fight, he fucking whooped Kevin Jusei on the feet. And Kevin Jusei looked a little lost in there. He didn't look like a normal Kevin Jusei. Like a normal good kickboxer, which is what Kevin Jusei was. Jonathan Mikulev, like, masterclassed him in the striking. His kicks were nasty. He's taking on Oban Elliott. Yeah, Oban Elliott's good. He's got good grappling. He's got good striking. And he's overall just like he's like a 6 out of 10, I'd say. He's not really that dangerous on the feet. He's not really that dangerous on the ground. He did just get masterclass in the grappling by the Korean Tyson in Hyun KO here. But before that, he's had some pretty decent performances. He's good. I think my early lean is genuinely going to be Mikulev here. I kind of just sense that Oban's not going to get the takedown. And I think he's going to get TKO'd via leg kick. I don't know. Oban Elliott's got like kind of a wide stance out there too. I don't know. This might be a style mismatch. Yeah, I don't know if I can really trust it. Especially after just losing that grappling match. You gotta think he's probably going to try to strike. I'd imagine he's probably going to try to strike. And I feel like that's the wrong game plan against Mikulev. I feel like if you're going against Mikulev, you really, really want to grapple him. I don't know if Oban Elliott's that high level of a grappler yet, you know? And to be fair, I haven't seen Mikulev really defend takedowns or do well against grapplers yet. But, I mean, I don't even know if it'll get to the ground. So, my early lean is going to be Jonathan Mikulev. This guy's already lost as well, so I'm not thinking that this guy's going to come in with an ego, and once it gets tough, he's going to be like, oh, I'm going to lose my whatever record. I'm going to lose my perfect record. Where Oban Elliott's just coming off his not his first loss. Oh, I thought that was his first loss. Damn. Interesting. Anyways, yeah, so I take that back. But yeah, regardless, I think I'm going to early lean Mikulev here. You know, Oban Elliott is a solid fighter, and he is young, and he can improve very fast. I don't know if he's ready for the striking yet. I really don't think he's ready for the striking. This is kind of like, this is going to remind me of Yanez versus, who was that guy who was coming up? He fought Aldo. Oh, fuck. Something Martinez. I can't remember his name. He's the leg kick guy. I can't remember his name, though. Started his own gym. Fought Marcus McGee. What the fuck was his name? How do I know Marcus McGee and I can't remember this guy's name? Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna go. Actually, it's pissing me off now. Genuinely pissing me off. Hold on. Marcus McGee. Jonathan Martinez. Yeah, I was right. I was gonna say Jonathan Martinez, but that just felt too NPC-like. But yeah, it's Jonathan Martinez. Yeah, this to me feels like Jonathan Martinez versus Yanez. Only like a Temu version, maybe, where I think Jonathan Mikulev is gonna be the Jonathan. Wow, they're both Jonathans. Anyways, yeah, Jonathan Mikulev kind of reminds me of Jonathan Martinez, but probably just smarter. And Oban Elliott, he doesn't really remind me of Yanez, but I have a feeling he's going to get TKO just like Yanez with the leg kicks. Anyways, we move on to the next fights, and these are the real heaters. These are the real bangers. I've saved the best for last. Dan Hooker, my king, is taking on Benoit, God of War Saint Denis, the French assassin. This is an unexpected matchup. Also at UFC 325. Are these all UFC 325? Holy shit. Damn, these are all UFC 325. I knew that. Yeah, coming off a loss. Dude, why is Dan Hooker coming back so fast? I feel like his forehead was just swollen to a goddamn pool ball. Is that a big ball? Like a basketball. Yeah, that's a bigger ball. Yeah, Dan Hooker's fucking forehead was just swollen to shit. I'm surprised he's coming back so soon. And yeah, he just got submitted by Arman Sarukian. Had no sweat off our back, boys. You know, almost guillotined him twice. It is what it is. It happens. But yeah, Dan Hooker fighting Benoit Saint Denis. This is very interesting. And I know a lot of people are probably like, Benoit Saint Denis by Masterclass. Look what he just did to Mauricio Huffy. Dude, I might actually go Dan Hooker here. I did do, I picked, okay, just like transparency. I picked Dan Hooker to beat Gamrot, and I picked Arman to beat Dan Hooker. So far in my picking career, I have a 100% win rate for Dan Hooker. I think I might genuinely lean Dan Hooker here. Dude, Benoit's good. Like, he is really good. But he almost requires someone to go for a highlight. You know? He almost requires someone to be desperate. If that makes sense. You know? Like, people forget, man, his Dustin Poirier fight where he had staph infection, he was doing really, really well. He was just really open on the feet. And I thought that was because of the staph infection. And that Kyle Prepperleck fight, this guy was only open on the feet. This guy was like completely fucking open on the feet. And he got cracked a couple times from Prepperleck. And Prepperleck was doing well until he got smothered and submitted. Mauricio Huffy, that dude just can't hang in the grappling, even though he was talking shit saying he'd beat Islam Makhachev. A little interesting. But yeah, Mauricio Huffy just had no idea how to get Benoit off of him. And to be fair, Benoit does have that smothering grappling style. And he finished Beneil in 15 seconds. I'm not really putting any steam into that. Beneil's got no chin. It is what it is. R.I.P. to the homie. His gray hair has finally caught up with his chin. But, dude, I know Dan Hooker gets cracked a bunch, and I know he wears damage a bunch. Are we going to pretend like Benoit doesn't wear damage a lot? You know? So I think my early lean here is going to be Dan Hooker. Maybe I'll rewatch some Dan Hooker fights and rewatch the Gamrot fight again, or the Turner fight. Because those are sick fights anyways. Because I did rewatch the Gamrot fight recently, and I still think Dan Hooker clearly won that fight. He's good when he can crack someone. Like, he wasn't going to finish Arman. Listen, I know Arman got wobbled by Joaquim Silva, and Dan Hooker's, like, sick. There was no world in my head where Dan Hooker was going to be able to finish Arman Sarukian. It's just not going to happen. I do think he's got good odds of finishing Benoit on the feet. And in fact, I don't even mind a club and sub here. And I know that sounds crazy because it's Dan Hooker we're talking about. Dude, he's been pulling out a lot of submissions recently. He's been pulling out a lot of tools in the bag, you know? He's been pulling out Darces. He's been pulling out some guillotines. I don't think he's going to pull a guillotine in this fight, you know? Or, I don't think he's going to pull a guillotine in this fight unless he knows he has it. I don't mind him cracking Benoit because of the range. And then just being able to... Yeah, man. I think he might weather the storm here. You know? Benoit likes to stand up for a little bit and then shoot takedowns. Dude, I think Dan Hooker might win this one. I gotta think about it a little bit more. Maybe I gotta watch some more Benoit Saint Denis fights, but... You know, Benoit's obviously closer to prime, and Dan Hooker's far past prime, but arguably he's in his prime now, to be fair. But yeah, early lean's going to be Dan Hooker. We'll see what happens come UFC 325. We move on to the real main event. Sean, I picked him to beat Israel Adesanya by decision. Strickland, taking on Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. I was worried this fight wasn't going to get booked because I think Anthony Hernandez wanted it in Australia, or the UFC wanted it in Australia, one of the two, and Strickland said no. Turns out they booked it anyways for the Fight Night main event, so this is 5 rounds. I'm telling myself that so I don't forget. This is a really this is really interesting. A lot of people think Anthony Hernandez is going to be the guy to beat Khamzat Chimaev. Dude, I really don't see it. I'll be honest. I might be doing a video soon on, like, UFC prospects I'm convinced are going to lose. their next fight. And Anthony Hernandez might be on that list. Dude, he's good. Don't get me wrong, he's good. But he's fighting brain dead morons. Can we just be real? Roman Dolidze is one of the ugliest strikings I think I've ever seen in that matchup he had against Fluffy. Then he gassed out, and then he got submitted. But Anthony Hernandez was terrified to go on the ground. Call it what it is. Every time I went to the ground, he stood up and he's like, nah, I ain't grappling with Roman Dolidze. I know he's a black belt. I'm terrified. Brendan Allen would have won that fight if he wasn't a... I don't get paid. I don't care. If he wasn't a retard and put himself on bottom. He literally pulled himself on bottom position, went for a leg like a moron. After having Anthony Hernandez wincing while getting taken down. You know, he was grimacing in pain. Michel Pereira, similar situation. Had him weak to the body in round 1. And honestly, in hindsight, taking Michel Pereira to the 5th round is kind of embarrassing because Michel Pereira has been getting fucked up recently. You know? I don't know, man. Roman Kopylov, similar situation. I like Roman Kopylov. And he did do well again. Dude, he was able to weaken Anthony Hernandez's body again, but he just wasn't able to defend takedowns. But Roman Kopylov's never been able to defend takedowns. That's the thing with Kopylov. You know, Edmund Shabazian, also a victim of being a little brain dead at times. You know, Marc-Andre Barriot. Are we going to pretend like Marc-Andre Barriot's like the smartest cookie in the jar? No, he's not. You know? That's a fellow Canadian right there. You know? And then, like, dude, he's been around for a while. I got respect for him. And listen, I've got respect for him. If he wins, he wins. I'm picking Sean Strickland. Early lean. I'm picking Sean Strickland, and I'm wearing it on my chest. I genuinely think Sean Strickland has the highest odds right now at middleweight to beat Khamzat Chimaev. And I think this is going to be a style mismatch. Sean Strickland's going to outland Fluffy Hernandez for the first 3 rounds, bare minimum. Maybe even, he might even just outland him in all 5. And Anthony's going to have to try to take down Strickland. Good fucking luck. Good luck. Who's taken down Strickland recently? Dricus du Plessis? Wow. With staph infection? Wow. I don't even think... Did he even take him down in the rematch? I don't think he did. In the first fight, though, he was able to take him down. And what happened? Got up immediately. Every single time. And that's a ball of muscle, Dricus du Plessis, who really has to cut down. Anthony Hernandez... This guy could be a welterweight, by the way he shows up. You know, he's a little chubby in there. I really think Sean Strickland's going to whoop his ass. Now, if Sean Strickland shows up with a pedo stash, I might have to rethink it, because pedo stash is very auraless for Strickland. I really hope he shaves that off. But yeah, and I already know people are going to bring up, yeah, but Paulo Costa, it was a lot closer than people think, you know, that's my decision, man. That fight was not close. I think I still have a screenshot somewhere. Dude, he was like minus 5,000 going into that 5th round. It was not a close fight. It was, if they gave it to, like, that one judge who gave it to Paulo Costa is one of the most robbery bullshits that ever happened. Now, Strickland is known to be on the bad end of scorecards. First fight, I think should have been awarded to Sean Strickland, but I don't mind that it was given to DDP because it was that close of a fight. I just gave the edge to Strickland. Jared Cannonier, absolute robbery in my opinion. Alex Pereira, hey, you got robbed of that fight, you know, early stoppage. No, obviously not, but yeah, like he's been victim of some really bad decisions in his career. So this could be one of those cases where his career's robbed. Like, this could be like a Jan Blachowicz situation where it's just like, bro, his career just gets robbed by all these bad scorecards. I really think he wins this one. And even if he doesn't via scorecards, I think he wins the fight. I think he's going to have the higher numbers. He's going to have the takedown stuff. He's not going to get finished. That's my opinion here. So yeah, I'm going Sean Strickland. Early leans. These are the fights that got announced. I think there was another one, Mauricio Huffy, Rafael Fiziev. I didn't bring those up. I completely gapped. I'm gonna early lean Rafael Fiziev. I like Mauricio Huffy. A little bit of a clip farmer. Mauricio Huffy's best shots are like winging kicks and wheel kicks. Fiziev is born and bred to dodge those type of shit. He knows how to dodge that shit. You know what I'm talking about. That lean back fucking where he literally bends his whole back completely straight. Dude, Fiziev, it feels like, in my opinion, Fiziev was made to beat a guy like Mauricio Huffy. A highlight reel or a farming striker. Fiziev is made to beat that guy. You know? And maybe Huffy pulls out some takedowns or something. I think he's just going to stuff the takedowns, in my opinion. But yeah, that's been my thoughts and opinions on all the fights that got announced. I'm still sick. Probably going to do a prediction a little later in the week for the UFC event this weekend. So stay tuned for that. And if you made it to the end of the video, feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you feel like sticking around. If you made it to the end, I want to thank you for watching. And as always, I hope you have a good day.